Hey guys, I think we need to do a video showing you how to have your aircon set when you're out on dusty roads. Don't do this. Don't do this. Do not do this, okay? Leave it like that. Rightio, so pretty boring view here, but I'm going to explain to you why not to do this. And again, most of you already get this, but there might be a little bit extra information there so you get it a little bit more. And for the people that don't get it, or you see them ask that question, why is my car full of dust and all this sort of thing? Well, you can go back to this video and bloody drop the link to them so they can see what's going on. Okay, so the basics of the aircon climate control heating system, part of that you've got fresh and you've got recirculate air, right? Now, what I would suggest is generally you always have it on fresh, because you want to have the air circulating through the vehicle so it doesn't end up being a stink bomb, you know, stinks, recirculating air sitting around, stinky people and stinky things and whatever, right? Up to you if you want to live in a stink bomb, but fresh is the go. Now, what recirculate's for is, well, traditionally people think, oh, it's dusty, turn the recirculate on or whatever so it doesn't come in, and that's kind of a fair thought temporarily if you've got, I don't know, you're driving past something that stinks and you just want to not have that smell coming in, put it on recirculate. If you're behind, you see some car up the road in the distance blowing a heap of smoke, some Nissan diesel, whatever, no, just joking. No, I'm not really, but you know, it's one of those ones where you're joking but you're not. But anyway, it might be a Mitsubishi or something, might be a Mercedes. Anyway, something, you know, those ones that are always smoking, you know, a SsangYong, or anyway, we won't go there. Or any other brand but a Toyota, not normally a Toyota, unless there's something wrong with it, which is pretty rare, and there's so many of them, you're bound to see Toyotas blowing smoke, but no, it always seems to be another vehicle. Anyway, that's another story. You're coming up behind this car, you can see up there, it's pouring out all this smoke everywhere. Bang, put it on recirculate, because you don't want that coming in. Now, where does it come in? The design of the system here is, you know, you're going to have air coming over. See these vents here, right? Directly below this trim, straight down here, there is a opening that goes into your, we'll call it the heater box, climate control, whatever you want to call it, right? Your aircon system. That's where your fresh air goes in, okay? So now that we've got that covered, that's cool. So that's where it goes in. But for the fan to work, if you've got all your windows up, you've got it on recirculate, no worries, the fan's going to flow, okay? But if you've got it on fresh, how does fresh air come in if it hasn't got somewhere to go out? It can't. Well, very little can anyway. It's going to work the fan hard. You're not going to get much airflow. It's going to get pretty hot in there. So at the back of the vehicle is the vents where it goes back out again, okay? So what we'll do, I'll just finish explaining it a little bit and then we'll go and have a look and see if we can find those. I haven't got a car pulled apart at the moment, so it's going to be pretty hard, but we'll give you an idea. And it doesn't really matter much. It's the explanation that I'll come up with next is the important part. So you've got recirculate, the times that I recommend to use it. If you're in city, urban traffic and whatever, you probably want to have it on recirculate, you know, have your fresh air in there. And then when you get into the traffic or whatever, you're coming into the tunnel or you see a car park or there's a hill, you're going up the Westgate Bridge. And of course, you know, that's where everyone's got the foot on the gas and trucks pouring out all that diesel particulate again. Bada boom, you put it on recirculate. Yeah, correct, recirculate. And of course, when you go out bush, if you use your Prado as a four-wheel drive, which you should, and if you don't, you probably should sell it because you're running a vehicle that's way too big, costs too much to run, service and everything, and it's unnecessary. So get out there and use it or sell it. What you should do when you're out in the dust, even if you're not in someone's dust, now you try and stay out of someone's dust, but you've got heaps of dust pouring off your tyres, your front and your rear tyres, it's going under the car, it's just massive around the back of the car. Now, if you've got your aircon set on fresh, it's flowing through, nothing's going to come in, and there are some little holes around the body and the seals and things. Like the Toyotas are the best as far as their seals and double seals and quality seals and how long they stay good for. They're just awesome the way they seal up. Anyone in the outback four-wheel driving and cars knows Toyota seals just are awesome and they're the best. But however, there's a few places where if you haven't got cabin pressure, a bit of dust is going to come in backwards, like your little drain holes in your doors, right? It'll come backwards up in the air and fill up in your door trim and stuff like that. But the biggest one of all where it's coming in, which a lot of people don't know about, is in behind the rear bumper bar, the sides, rear bar cover, whatever you want to call it. There's like, we'll call it the vents where, you know, the air flows outwards, and it's got some little flaps on there that sort of hang there when there's no airflow to close it. when there's airflow, obviously they just sort of slightly open up out that way and the air flows out. But when it's on recirculate and they're meant to be hanging there and you're banging around on corrugations, they're probably wobbling around all over the joint, nothing sealed, and all the dust is just pouring straight in there, and it's going to fill up inside those rear trims in the back of the car. Let's go and have a look what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you were to have it on recirculate on a dirt road, basically what we're talking about, if you take out your cover for your jack, and we store a bit of other crap down there, but the easiest way to find it is probably, let's just get all that gear out of the way. A bit of a dry bag here with something or nothing in it. The easiest way, look, they're down there, they're way down there. You can't, there's kind of like other gear in the way, right? So you can't really see what I'm talking about from in here, but if you run on recirculate, this is going to be one of your worst areas each side. This is going to fill up with dust up in behind your trims, and of course then eventually floats out around the gaps of the sides of the trims, and it's in the air. And you'll sort of just smell it and get that, why am I getting dust in here? It's because you got it on recirculate, okay? It's because you got it on recirculate. Keep it on fresh in the dust at all times. And sometimes they've got a mind of their own depending on what settings you've got it on, where they want to switch themselves onto recirculate. So as soon as you smell that dust, you look at your climate control, and I'll put my money on it's going on recirculate. Hit the button and put it back again. Every time you restart the car and get back in, check it. And under certain conditions with the climate control, it will just go, when the conditions change, the temperature and whatever, it might just change on you. So just be aware to keep an eye on it every now and then. Get your passenger to help you out with that. Okay, so that's kind of where it's going to be coming in that general area. Let's have a look at the cabin filter and talk about what's going to happen with that, and try and find the outside exterior part of these vents to see what they look like. Alright, so under the back of the 150, it's pretty hard to see what's going on. So this is under a 120. And so underneath the rear, this is the back of the bumper bar, right? Which gets sprayed by rocks and whatever, yeah. So just trying to show you, see that? You're not going to see a lot of detail. The way to do it is, if we've ever got a bar cover off, we're not a panel shop though, so it rarely happens. Look, you know, that's the plastic arrangement up there where the flaps are, where the air comes out, right? So can you imagine all the air, all the dust coming off the front tyres, the back tyres, straight up into this area here is where it goes. And it's almost like getting forced in the back of the vehicle here, right? So I hope you understand that a bit better now. Now, if you choose to do the right thing and run it on fresh in the dust, the problem you're going to have is, well, try and stay out of people's dust is the key thing, and then your cabin filter will stay dry. This isn't the end of the world, but if you've got a fairly new cabin filter, you don't need to replace it every time it gets full of dust. I'm just going to show you how to check it out, holding our camera one-handed, hopefully. Oh God, we've got a glove box full of gear. That didn't work out too well for me, did it? Okay, so you've got a little gas strut on the side here that you can either carefully release now or later. I actually do it afterwards because it's a little bit difficult to slip. That's just got to slip off there, right? But it's kind of, I find it more difficult. I released the glove box. I think I'm going to need to put this camera down to do it though. Give me a sec. Look, I'm not sure what you can see. Yeah, we've got a scan tool in the glove box because this is a 1GD. You got to drive around with a scan tool in the glove box just in case. No, you don't actually, but personally, I don't think I will go too far from home without it. That's how confident I am. But anyway, that's another story again. So I'm not going to be able to show you this whole thing. I'll show you what I can. This is the way we pop the glove box out. I'm going to have to put the light down, so I don't know how much you're going to see, but it's really easy. All you need to do is, am I in the way or what? I'm going to get in the way of this picture. Gently squeeze the sides of the glove box there where those hinges, so it comes down a bit further. Once it comes down a little bit further, like so, right, it'll just slip straight out off the hinges. Don't drop it because of the weight of it. And at this point, as it's coming off, that's when I release that. All right, so I hope that, it's all dark now, right? Really easy to get the glove box out, okay? Let's go in and have a look at the cabin filter and see how easy that is to get out. I don't know how well that last part of the video worked out or will end up in the video or not, but I've got another video on changing the cabin filter, so search that on our channel, search changing the cabin filter. You can even see, look, this 12,000 Ks, look at the amount of dust already. I just touched that, see that clean spot there? Even inside the vehicle, crazy, isn't it? Anyway, this cover just comes off, normally two hands both at the same time. All right, but I'm going to do it a bit awkwardly just to show you. So you just pop that out, And then you just carefully grab your cabin filter and pull it out like this. And we'll take it out and have a look at it. I'm just out here in the light to show you how clean it is. And this has been out in the dust and whatever, but I do make a point of staying out of people's dust, otherwise it's going to fill up. Now, if you're going up the Cape or something like that and you're on that developmental road, travelling at speed, there's a heap of dust and people are everywhere. We found a problem with this cabin filter, by the way. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but it's going to get full of dust. It's literally going to fill up. If you're in people's dust, this is going to fill up. Your fan's not, when you feel, oh, my aircon's not working, the fan's not flowing, that is because this thing is just layered with dust, okay? So you just slip it out, and all you need to do is just turn it over and just bang it out, and all you'll see all the dust fall out. It'll go. Don't do it anywhere near your car when it's open. You'll fill your car with dust. And have a look at what we've just noticed. 12,000 k's, brand new car. I don't even know if the cabin filter's been out. Check this out, right? Big gaping hole in the cabin filter. That ain't good, is it? That'd be why there's been so much dust in the car and I can't figure it out. Bada boom, bada bing. Interesting, right? Anyway, so we'll put it back in. I could just replace that, but I'm going to make the dealer aware of what's going on there. I don't know if someone's ripped it when they pulled it out or what, but see, it's just got a big gaping hole in the middle of it. It's only been brand new from factory Japan into one Toyota dealer for a 10,000 k service, just to keep them happy with their. You don't have to do that. I want to be clear, you don't have to do that, but our choice for the amount of money it is, to save any arguments with, we think Toyota like to argue and make it hard on warranty claims sometimes. So the best option is to use the cap service. You just got to be really careful where you go. Well, that's my position at the moment. Anyway, there you go. You got to watch these things. Anyway, one other thing I wanted to show you as well with this, there's a little gas strut there for the glove box, right? And I just want to show you how it mounts, because from memory, I haven't taken this one off, but from memory, has it got two little, it's got two little locating holes on it, so it can be quite confusing. All right, I've seen many of them broken before. You got to be careful where you go and who you let do this. But there's two little tabs it would seem to mount this sucker, right? But they don't mount by two tabs. They mount by one, and it's the closest one to the bottom. This one right here, you can see it, right? That's the only one that hooks on there. If they break that off, you're in trouble, right? You need to. I think I've actually glued that piece. I found these sitting down in the plastic trim and in glove boxes and whatever. I don't know if it's owners or workshops or whatever, but I think I've glued at least one of those back on before and got this operational again. The glove box will work without it. This just controls the slow opening, if you know what I mean. See how it just goes in slowly? And usually the weight of the glove box would be pulling on it like so, right? And it just controls it slowly. You know, it's the luxury thing, nice and luxury. Anyway, so to put it back on, what we do, we pick up the glove box. I take the weight of the glove box, carefully hook that on first. Then at a lower angle is where you slip these on the hinges, because you can see the angle of them is back towards just above the front top of the passenger seat, the part where you sit. That's kind of the angle where it hooks in, and then you lift it up and these parts here clip in, right? So looks like you can see I haven't had it out before, so it looks like it's been out before. Perhaps whoever had it last poked a hole in that thing a little bit quick and a little bit rough, perhaps. Anyway, we'll see what happens from that. Anyway, so we've got it all back together. I was a bit dumbfounded by the hole in the cabin filter. I've never seen that before, so I look forward to a discussion and perhaps an argument about, you know, how it must have been my fault or something like that, or, you know, they didn't touch that, or I don't really care, you know, it's a new car, it's only been here, bloody. Anyway, I can, like I said, I can just replace it on principle, you know. It's just ridiculous. It's quite annoying that I've been driving around in dust with a hole in the cabin filter, so it's quite ironic, isn't it? You know, the video that I've just done and then what we found, you know, so yeah, awesome. So anyway, that's the deal, guys. If you're going to be on fresh, that's the way to be, but you need to keep it on your cabin filter if you're going to be sitting in dust. You don't have to replace it. It's just dry dust usually, easy to clean. Just bang it off and you'll get a whole heap of airflow back again. If you've got compressed air, you can just carefully blow it through backwards. Obviously don't blow a hole in the element. And you need to replace it every now and then. Once it's got sort of that staining that doesn't come out, the darker color, black stuff, by service it's recommended every 30,000. So it is probably, I'd say approximately that, depending on use and how you look after it. Like all filters, it varies a little bit. Hope this has helped, guys. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if it's your 120 or your 150, this is the one you got to watch. Just covering the basics for those that don't know. Right, have a good look in there. Fresh, that's air coming in under the windscreen. And out the back, out those vents we talked about, that's recirculate. That's that vent closes, nothing's coming in from outside. So if you're going to use your car as a submarine, there's two ways to look at it actually. If you're going to use your car as a submarine, what I mean is, you know, put a snorkel on and try and take it in water deeper than it can handle. Because on fresh, you will actually get water hit the windscreen, it'll run down, go in those vents, overflow into your cooling system. And I do know people that have had, not in Toyotas, but I have had water come out the vents here. Quite funny, yeah? See water coming out the vents. So to stop that, you could say, well, let's put on a recirculate. And that closes the flap, so the water can't come in. That's great. But then you lose your cabin pressure and you've got more water coming in your doors and stuff. So I would suggest for deeper water crossings to have it on fresh, windows up, and fan up on a higher speed, and that's going to create some cabin pressure to keep the water out of the same sort of places the dust come in. What happens when you do a water crossing, even when it's not that deep, the water comes in the bottom of the doors through those drain holes, and it just starts filling up slowly, and it will overflow out your door trims into your car. And of course, the back of the vehicle, those vents, that's where the water's going to come in. It's going to pour down from the back down your floor to your footwell at the front, and that's where your ECU is at the left hand side. So if you get enough in there, that could be bad news for you. And don't forget your engine, and that's at the front, so that's kind of a heavy-ish end, but it's not about weight. Your engine bay isn't buoyant. What I'm trying to say is, this is a separate video, but we'll just touch on it quickly. Your engine bay isn't buoyant. It hasn't got a floor. The rest of the vehicle's got a floor. So from roughly the dashboard, the firewall, the dash back, it's like a boat. Think about a boat. It doesn't take much water to float in, right? Same with cars, okay? But the front nose goes down because the front's not buoyant. That makes the water run that's coming in those back vents down to the front of the car. And of course, that's where your electricals are. Have fun if you're going to turn it into a boat. So it's your decision whether you go fresh or recirculate on a river crossing. I go fresh, windows up to maintain cabin pressure. And obviously if you're going to do silly things, well, you might want to drive in your bathers with your windows down and with your PFDs on. Use caution. Hey guys, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. More important information coming your way soon. Keep it on fresh, unless you got one of those Nissans in front of you. See ya.